Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 276. Each week we meet here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and also on the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. With us tonight we have Masataki Wasa. Masataki is webmaster of wasaweb.net. He's a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. He lives in Wimbledon in the UK. Micah Kirshner is Director of SEO and Content for Turn River Capital in the USA. He's also President of the San Francisco Bay Area SEO Meetup Association. He's a regular also on the public speaking circuit. All right, we've got 13 questions tonight. Let's look at our first one. This is a question from Ganesh Shanmuga on keywords. I have a fundamental question. Do keywords, okay, so he's put a whole set of different variations of the word keyword. Does it mean the same in SEO? Please replace keyword with a targeted search term. So I have to wonder whether people are having a lend of us, Mike. But we've got to take it at face value and answer it.
I'll go for it. Yeah. In terms of at least singular versus plural, there can be some difference, and that can be, you can take a look at the search results and see, for example, if Google provides different search results based on singular versus plural. But in the past, particularly like in an e-commerce space, I've seen where singular represents people don't expect to see very many products, whereas plural means people are expecting you to have a lot of a set product or a set type of product. So when it comes to kind of a singular versus plural, there can be actual differences on what the user intent is behind said query. When it comes to an apostrophe S, I'm not sure what I've ever seen a dash S, but those are, I would say, less common to see a difference on that. Obviously, it depends on the full sentence or the full term, but from at least for the most part, the biggest part is just kind of looking and seeing what results Google provides, and then also asking yourself, is there a fundamental difference in terms of how someone is searching and what that might entail when they're looking for something.
Thank you, Micah. I think we've covered that one. What do you think? Okay, let's tweak that. We'll move on to the next. Here we have one from Scholars Punting Cambridge. He said, it's titled, "My result features just a logo for Google+, despite me having plenty of nice images on my site." He said he or she said, when using my mobile phone to search Punting Cambridge, I found that my competitors' results show with a nice image of punting. In contrast, my result features just a logo for Google+, despite me having plenty of nice images on my site. Does anyone have any suggestions why this is?
Depends potentially on how you've marked up your images. And by that, I mean, have you named them properly? Like, are they SEO friendly? Have you loaded them correctly via HTML versus say proper HTML versus say maybe as a background image? depending on your schema markup, maybe you're classifying your Google Plus one as the image for the page or for the website. So those can provide a potential for what's going on. But yeah, if it would be easier if we actually had kind of what the URL is and we could take a look. But those are at least a few, like 3 quick things I could think of for what might be happening, for why you're not getting the nicer image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm certainly seeing the same result. It is. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it is showing the Google Plus logo for some reason.
Just as an aside, is it my imagination, or is Google putting some genuine resources into Google Plus these days?
Ooh, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
No, it just seems to be on the improve after so many years of going backwards. Okay. Our third question on our run list is from Patty Mantelins. He's a Canadian SEO. He said, what's the point of issuing an SSL certificate that covers www and non-www? He said, if a 301 redirect is in place, you'd think that the 301 destination would be enough, but both SEMrush and Google Search Console complain.
Yeah, because if you type in http domain.com, for example, and if that doesn't have the SSL, then that will throw up the warning before, even if you have 301 redirect.
Yes, that'll be it.
So yeah, I think it's important that you cover both positions, because in a sense there are many possibilities, right? There's the HTTP non-www to HTTPS www, HTTPS non-www to HTTPS www. So you have to cover both scenarios. And if someone types in domain.com, I think depending on the browser, I think it would throw up the warning. And if you don't have certificate on the non-www, for example, and someone types in HTTPS non-www into the address bar, that will throw up a big security alert. So for that reason, I think you need to cover both scenarios.
Yeah. By the way, before moving on, I must send our thanks to people like Jason Duke and David Kuchar, who give us valuable support in answering questions through the week. All right, let's move on. Did I tweet that? Probably not. Okay, Neil Cheeseman wants to know, is this normal in HT Access to have more than one command for one redirect? He gives an example, HTTPS to HTTPS www. And he gives a few other domains, which and other URLs, which can be seen on the Facebook group.
Yeah, I would kind of reiterate what Gary's comment was in the thread, which is it's common to see, but it's not the right setup. You just want it to go direct to the final resolved URL. You want to avoid kind of the redirect hops if you can. But again, yeah, it's quite common.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, what I've been doing in some cases is setting the preferred site to non-dub and redirecting all traffic which is not HTTPS to the non-dub. So does that sound like a good practice, or am I making a mistake there?
Sorry, go through it once more.
Okay, so a couple of sites I converted recently, I dropped the dub. We normally had the preferred site as dub. Now I changed that to being the root domain, and with the redirect, the 301 redirect, instead of looking for something going to a site name, I'm saying is the protocol port 80 or port 443, and if it's not 443, if it's not SSL, redirect to SSL non-dub. Does that make sense?
I might have to sit down and check. It's a little early on that specific. I don't know.
Okay, I'll try and make more sense of it through the week. I'll bring it up in the green room next week.
It makes sense to me, because what you're trying to do is essentially saying that all non-dub to be sort of. Oh, wait a minute. Are you saying that? Are you looking at the port first?
Yeah.
Okay, so regardless of whether it's dub or non-dub, you're first looking into that, and if it's not, then you're redirecting that to the non-dub domain, which is your preferred domain. Yeah. So that leaves the case of if someone is accessing the site on 443, but with dub, which is not your preferred. So what happens then? Because then that means that that passes that test, right? Because if you're saying that if not 443.
Exactly. You're so right, Masataki. That's right. Thank you. All right. I'll fix that. Okay.
Was I right? Goodness me.
You're perfectly right. I see it now. I just needed. To be fair, I'm 67 years old and under the pump, so I've got to be forgiven. All right, and I thought I'd invented something new too. Anyway, this one from Show Odwa, and I left this on the community because it's anyway, I left it on. I don't know why. It's titled, How Do You Get Google to Rank Your Blog Articles? I see Jody Nesbitt, Dave Elliott, and Sharf Hussein Brady offered Annie Guesthouse and Ronnie Lawson-Jones. Ronnie Lawson-Jones said, I'm so glad posts like this are approved. Always good to get a refresher.
I would simply, assuming you're meaning regular Google search results, it's going to be very similar to how to get any page to rank. There's not really any unique difference beyond just what you're trying to rank for. And that might entail some differences in how strong your website is as a whole. But yeah, like how you get Google to rank your blog articles, it's going to be fairly similar to how you would for any other page, or page type at least.
Yeah. All right, that's. I hope that's what you're looking for, Show Odwa, and looking forward to hearing your next question. Here's one from Vikash Sharma. He wants to know the best method of backlinking for a new money website. I don't know about all these terms, and the next thing you'll be wanting to know about Web 2. Yeah, and of course, when I saw these comments mentioned in the community, I thought, do we leave those on our group or take them off? I mean, is there a possibility that someone would come along and think Tony Kelly's response saying Fiverr cheap and reliable is, with a tongue firmly in his cheek?
Yeah, it's hard to express sarcasm online. So I don't know. It'd be nice if Facebook gave us an option to like add something right at the end, like /sarcasm. Like, yeah. I mean, what can we say? I don't know what a new money website is on its own. I mean, is that meant to make? Yeah, I don't know what that would be.
Yeah, I liked Alan Blowice's answer. I won't read it all, but he said if you call it a money site, you possibly have already been set up by people who don't value concepts that need to exist for real human visitors. And if not, you need to be very careful to avoid creating spam or other tactics that violate Google policies. He's right,
Yeah. What exactly is money site?
Well, okay. This is just a guess because I don't know either. But money site would be this is the site that contains your call to action or your offer to sell, where people actually buy, versus a non-money site which might be part of a private blog network, which is equally against Google guidelines and also against common sense. The sites which contain links to your site, with your call to action.
Yes, it's essentially a vehicle, right? Vehicle to make money. In that sense, people have to come to that site or page and do something. I.e., in most cases, purchase something, be that be a product or service. So it's, I think people need to start to think from that perspective, thinking, who am I appealing to? Who are the people who are going to buy the product or the service that I'm offering?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, people that approach things from this perspective, really miss the point. They're putting the cart before the horse. If they were actually there to actually, sell something of value, I'm thinking of sites that actually provide a service, and because they provide a good service, people are on their site more often, and because people are on their site and the returning visitor percentage is high, their organic traffic increases. The number of keywords that they're in the top 10 for increases because they have a lot of product that people are buying. And these are sites that are turning over millions of dollars a year. These guys, with their money sites, might pick up $3 or $4 and think they're Christmas. Anyway. I think they're just going about it the total wrong way. All right, let's move on to the next. And Lauren Miller wants to know about the length of a URL. She said URL length with category are 90 to 100 characters. So is this good or bad for SEO? And also tell me the weight of URLs in SEO. Now, I'm sure we can't give the weight, but we could say something comparative, couldn't we?
Weight is about 5 pounds. I don't know what you're talking about. So let's see. URL length.
Losing your voice there, Micah. It's
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, URL length is. I mean, there's not really necessarily a per se good length. It's just going to depend on what your product is, and are you being, let's say, succinct enough for what it should be. That could be a lot shorter. I'm not sure if that's going to be a lot longer, but it kind of would be a good judgment call, in my opinion. As long as you're properly describing what the category is about. URL in terms of kind of a weighting, it's a factor. It's not a large factor. Medium, really, I would say a factor, but it's one of those things that you do want to get right so that in aggregate, all the stuff kind of adds up together. It's kind of the way that I usually look at it. But I don't know what the actual weight of that is on its own.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on from that one. Did I tweet that? Not sure. This one from Ed Venus Posniakis. Is it hard to rank in a specific country with a domain company.studio? All information would be in that country's language. Backlinks would also be from local resources. What else matters here?
Yeah, so you've basically bought a GLD or GTLD. It intrinsically won't be seen as, outside of kind of something like the US, if it's international, it intrinsically won't be seen as necessarily built or created for said country. So there's a starting disincentive for it to rank, but at the same time, if you've got stuff hosted in the language, if you've got it hosted on the server in the said country, for the most part, there really isn't an algorithmic difference. That said, as Alan has well noted, people won't necessarily understand that it's an actual website. So there might be some concerns, or not concerns, but people might be a little dissuaded by actually going there or linking to it because, what, a studio versus one of those standard TLDs kind of sometimes does throw people off. So I'd say most of your concerns that you should be thinking of is really around how users are going to react, and are they thus likely to link to it or talk about it if it's a generic TLD rather than a specific country-based one.
Thank you, Micah. Okay, let's move on to the next. Did I tweet that or not? Apparently not. Okay. This one from Emi Ahmed. Emi said, where should I add the Schema markup file that contains the name, address, and phone number data for a Magento-based store? Emi went on to ask, hi guys, Should it be in the root directory or inside a specific file? Also, where to add the product schema file, and can it be in the same file? I wonder if there's a plugin for Magento that she's talking about, Micah. Don't know. Let me see. Paul Thompson gave an answer that looks like he knows what he's talking about. Yes, let's pass on that one. Masataki's gone for a coffee, so he'll be back shortly. I won't tweet that. Here we go. Alexander Lubinkovic is asking a question about a reciprocal link. He, I think that would be, I am reaching out to websites in order to get links inside their posts, but some of them are asking for a link back, but not on the same page. Is this considered a reciprocal link in Google's eyes? Your opinion?
I mean, I guess you can. Yeah, I mean, it's reciprocal linking here, there, sure, but I mean, it's not in the way that it's considered to be excessive. Assuming you're not doing it at massive scale. So I mean, I wouldn't really worry as long as the link makes sense. It's of value to the reader, as noted in the comment. Yeah, that's kind of how I would look at it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the magnitude of what you're doing. I mean, if you've got a link back scheme, and it means that if you have 1,000 links to your site and 990 of them are reciprocal, you're going to get shot. I mean, a lot of things. A lot of things are penalising at a large scale, and not a problem as long as there's not too much of it. Anyway, stay under the radar. Here we are. One from hello, Tim Capper.
You're right.
He's just flown in on the beast from the east. Oh dear. You didn't get an invitation. I'm so sorry, mate. I did send it. You're the first one I put down.
Yeah, I normally get them, but today nothing. It must be the weather.
Well, I only said last week they finally got it fixed. It was working perfectly, and then they improved it to the point it didn't work at all. Yeah, they've started again apparently. And I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, it is cold in the UK, mate. But it wouldn't worry you. I mean, you're used to, walking around Red Square in your thongs, aren't you? or was that inner thong? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's. Suvendo wants to know how to get business to business leads for local business. Please suggest. Masataki said he's got a picture of Tim Capper in Red Square in a mankini. I'm not sure if I think that's photoshopped.
Yeah, I don't think that's allowed on the internet. B2B. Yeah. Alan provides some insights there. B2B is very, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got nothing on that.
I liked Alan's. In fact, I like a lot of Alan Blue Ice's advice. Yeah, so how to get business to business leads for local business. He followed that up with an answer to Alan. I need free and paid a small list specific to a food niche local business. Yeah.
The thing is, B2B, I mean, I honestly don't even know, you know, depending on how niche that food local business is, I don't even know if there would be, you know, there's a lot of different data capture companies out there that, you know, sell you information, but depending on how niche it is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was on their website and how to look for, you know, things, yeah, there's ways you can, you know, obviously attract from search, but directly, I don't know.
Yeah, if I was in that position, I'd be printing the menu on some nice card and just hand delivering to all of the local businesses. I mean, if it was a food shop, it's not something that could be automated, is it? All right, let's move on from Sue's question. I hope that Alan's and Tim's offering is enough for you, Sue. Okay, let's go to JL Faverio, question 12 on our run list. What local business type of schema would I use for a rehab treatment centre? I don't think any of you guys have been in rehab yet, have you?
No. Well, top line would be medical clinic. I don't think they've got rehab centre in the within the ontology. But yeah, so your top line would certainly be medical clinic, and then just dive down to see if there's anything more specifically relevant. One thing to note with your, you know, I don't know if you know, but just on a slightly different tangent, rehab treatment centers are massively cracked down on by GMB. So, you know, if you're going down that road, you certainly want to make sure that your client actually has treatment centers, not just some random little office in every single city in you know, in the country where apparently, you know, that's not eligible for GMB. Yeah, there's been a lot of And Google also in search has cracked down on them because they're not really treatment centers. They more like a forwarding, I don't even know what you would call it. But because it falls under the whole medical thing and your money or your life and stuff like that, you know, Google, all of Google has cracked down on these things. So, you know, just be careful of if this is an actually legit company that you're using or you're working with, mate.
Yeah, I imagine that they'd be a lot of these sites would be simply generating leads because it's a very profitable business, drug or alcohol rehabilitation. But and also very important that if they're talking health or medical services, that they establish the medical credentials on the site. Make sure it's listed prominently.
Yeah, it's a big thing in the States. Massive, massive sort of thing. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry setting up these so-called drug rehab, you know, or these any kind of rehab treatment centers. Yeah, they're literally all over the all over the place. And essentially, it's almost like you know, they have a little office where they technically want to label itself as a rehab center, but all it is not, you know, someone who's in desperate need on a weekend or on a holiday or whatever the case may be will search and find something, turn up or phone, and then all they do is that it's kind of a referral, and they book them into a legitimate one, but then they charge the actual medical aid extortionate amounts, literally just to book them into somewhere where the actual client could have done it themselves. They're like a go-between. Just yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next. This one is from Craig Anthony. How can I improve on my recent improvements? He said, wanted, please, someone's experienced opinion. What should I do next? What am I doing wrong? All help and replies are truly appreciated. Thank you. And he gives his URL. When people hear this, handing in the URL at the same time as asking a question makes it so much easier for us to give a better answer, because we can go to the site and test. We can see that, you know, there's some of the gotchas that are often seen. We can check all those. Anyway, what do we have to say for Craig Anthony?
A couple of things. Let's start with a bit more of the user-centric ones. You have no privacy policy. You have no copyright policy, trademarks, etc. You don't have any, as what looks to be like an e-commerce site. There's not much there to kind of suggest any authority. In fact, most of your products go off-site to where is it? Is it eBay?
Etsy, I think it is.
Etsy, yeah. So that doesn't help to kind of showcase that this is more than a potentially just an affiliate site. And so if you're you potentially could get dinged on that. Now, on top of all this, your category pages, I have to click on the image, not on the text. So from a textual relevance, all your internal linking is basically blank. You're basically telling Google the text is blank. Granted, I think you might have some alt text in here. I didn't double check on that, but you should basically have your actual text linked to the pages, the product pages themselves. And in general with the site, you don't really have much content, actual written content. So it's hard for Google to understand what it's about. And, yeah, and this includes, for example, your category pages. There's very little text to describe beyond the header what the page is, and on your product pages in particular, it's pretty much, you don't have any information there. So there's no, the most that you have is like length, height, depth. Yeah, as kind of like product description. You have no reviews, you have no star ratings, you have no warranties, no length of time it will take. There's really no information that kind of suggests like, okay, this is actually what a product page around this product should be. So you also, let's see, from a part of this, you don't have a brand in your main title tag. So this is Reformations Co. UK by Craig Anthony. You don't really have that in there. So you're not really looks like you're trying to establish yourself as a brand in that way. So that there are a lot of things that kind of are check marks against what you would want to have in a website to showcase that this is of value. Those are just kind of some general starting points outside of what's already been talked about with HTTPS. But yeah, I personally dislike slideshows. Like without the images somewhere else on the page. And I do prefer not having them when possible, but that's my more general preference.
Thank you, Micah. That was a good pickup on the linking, internal linking. Do we have anything more for Craig Anthony, guys? All right, let me tweet that. And I think that's us for the night. Yes, it is. It's that time again. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and also on the Dumb SEO Questions Facebook group. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again. We thank you for your interest. I see we still have eyeballs looking at us, and we thank you for that most sincerely. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. And thank you very much.